What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Roll Tide Cafe, a part of the Bama Standard Network. Got here Justin and Riley, obviously from the Bama Standard guys. We got a lot to get into here today. For just an instant quick reaction, I know, Justin, you were at work. I was at home texting you back and forth. Give me your instant reaction, brother, to this game, Alabama losing to Michigan 19-13.
It's absolute sickening, to be honest with you. I don't want to try to go in too much, but the thing is, eventually, as we progress through this video, I will. I just don't understand for the life of me how Alabama loses badly to a team that was greatly undermanned. Look, folks, we were down to a Michigan team the entire game that was playing starting second and third string players. Apparently, Alabama's mantra this year is if you go on the road and you're facing a team that is down to second and third string players, go ahead and chalk up that L, because that's what you're going to be digesting come the time the game ends. That's what we saw today. I saw absolutely horrendous play from the offense. Defense was the bright spot, and I think that what they contributed today is overlooked just because of how bad the offense was. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try to protect anyone. You can call me a hater. I've been called a hater throughout the year, but Jalen Milroe was the reason, one of the main reasons Alabama lost this game. 3 back-to-back-to-back turnovers that led to Michigan points that was ultimately what decided the game. Inexcusable.
Yep.
I was looking at this game for our departing seniors and draft eligible players as their swan song to cement their legacy and leave us with something that makes us proud. We have a lasting memory that although we didn't make the playoffs, we didn't achieve the goals that we should have, we can at least go out having won 10 games, another streak that would have been intact, which is completely gone. And we get that revenge against Michigan from last year.
Yep.
None of that happened. And the lasting impression I have, not of all the seniors, but of Milroe, was a complete, just absolute train wreck.
All right, so when you look at this, guys, I'm gonna make my instant reaction very simple compared to most. Milroe was horrible. 3 turnovers in the first quarter, by the way. And look, let's bypass the excuses. Don't talk about how Caden Proctor got beat, which led to a fumble. We're not going to talk about a tip pass that led to an interception. I'm done with those. Why? Because this hasn't happened in one game. We've seen Milroe be a turnover machine for 3/4 of the season, I would say now, at this point. If there's one thing we know, the ball is going to get turned over, and it's going to get turned over quite a bit, right? And for some reason, the past couple of games, yes, Caden Proctor has, for some reason, became a guard more than a left tackle at this point, in my opinion. We know what to expect out of Elijah Pritchett. Nick Sheridan and this game calling was one of the worst I've seen so far this year, in my opinion. It shouldn't be a surprise at this point. The guy tends to call plays over and over again that don't work, and they continue to call them over and over again each game. It becomes annoying, sickening, and it's just because we haven't seen this since, obviously, Nick Saban, right? So before Nick Saban, yeah, you can talk about Mike Shirley, you can talk about Price, all those guys. But like you said to me, Justin, it's been a very long time since I've said I want this season to end. I'm just sick and tired of the season at this point. And I think it has a lot to do with we feel like we know what the deficiencies are in this team, and we know they're exiting the building this year, in my opinion. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat for that. Jalen Milroe, look, I'm trying not to pile on too much at this point because there's some blame to go around to everybody at this point, all the way from and it starts at the very top. Kalen DeBoer, all the way to the 4th string, you know what I mean, 2nd string punter, whatever you want to say it may be. But at the end of the day, the most important player, in my opinion, on that field is the quarterback when it comes to the offense, right? The buck starts with him. Tom Brady, all the greats, you get the most credit and then you get the most criticism. We already know that. So when you look when you look at the total, this is the part that kind of aggravates me the most, and this is where I want your reaction right here, Justin. So we have more yards than them, 260 yards than 190. We passed for 192 yards. They passed for 75. Michigan didn't come out, guys, and have this balanced attack that we haven't seen all year. They said, we're going to run the ball and we're going to cause turnovers, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't have some great moment to where they created this great Steve Sarkisian game plan. They just came out with a, in my opinion, lesser talented team, right? So they don't have all the Donovan Edwards out there, Mullins in out there. They have a lot of second, third stringers out there. They lined up and they whooped our ass in the trenches, top to bottom, across the board. For some reason, we have now adopted this. We're going to run east to west versus north and south. We're going to overthrow running backs 3 yards away in the flat. We're going to just completely miss wide open receivers streaking down the field. It's just so un-Alabama-like, and it's hard to digest as an Alabama fan. So, yeah.
That's what's just so puzzling to me is you're watching all this unfold and you keep asking yourself, at what point does a change come? And it doesn't come. It's like, disaster is coming and there's nothing you can do about it. It's like being trapped under boards with this. A house is collapsed and a tornado is coming right at you, and you can't do anything about it. You just sit there and wait for it to come, and that disaster hits. Our offense has been an absolute disaster, and I've heard arguments about how the coaches are to blame for not fitting their system around Jalen Milroe and his skill set. Well, to a degree, I can understand that. But on the other side of the argument, my question is, how does that keeping him from hitting those easy passes where from me to this computer screen, you have a man in front of you and you cannot hit him. You're overthrowing him. You're underthrowing him. You're throwing him at his feet. How is it that you have no pocket awareness, no presence? Look, there is no argument for me that Michigan up front was absolutely destroying our offensive line. Okay. Well, you know what's coming. But you don't change the protections. You don't make adjustments. You just go with it. You're like, you know what? I'm just going to sink with the ship. You've got wide open receivers and you can't hit them. The streaking. And what do? Any number of disastrous things that led to nothing. Sacks, turnovers could have all been avoided.
Yeah, so I'm going to say this. I know a lot of people, including yourself, like you say, a lot of people are saying the coaches aren't, adopting Jalen Milroe's skill set. I'm going to rebut that and say that they have done that. Because if you look at the LSU game, if you look at the Georgia game to a certain extent, in this game, he ran the ball 16 times for 7 yards, right? Of course, in college, they include the sack, so you get the negative yardage from that effect. But even then, look, if we lose an Oklahoma game, we lost the Oklahoma game based on what? Jalen Milroe's most important skill set, running the ball, because they shut down the run and he couldn't throw. So I am completely over that the coaching staff is not adopting his skill set. They have adopted his skill set. It's just Jalen Milroe. We may not like to hear this. We may not like to say it or accept it. He's not that quarterback. He's not that dude that's going to lead us to a national championship. And look, there was a lot of Alabama fans that were making an argument that we should be in the playoffs because the way SMU played, the way a lot of the other teams played. Well, to break it down, we just lost to a Michigan team. Yes, they beat Ohio State that had a subpar season. They got destroyed by unranked teams, right? So, and I get it. That's going to be the mantra for Alabama fans. They beat Ohio State. That doesn't excuse the fact that we just lost to a team that didn't even field the same players that beat Ohio State. By the way,
there you go. That's the big difference right there. And You may have had an argument about putting Alabama into the playoffs. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Alabama gets in, and all of our players are healthy. You got Q Robinson that's
Yeah.
healthy, Deontay Lawson healthy. You've got Jahad Campbell who's healthy, who went out today. You have Malachi Moore healthy. Okay, that adds a lot more to the picture right there. But even with all that, there's one X factor, and that's Jalen Milroe. Are you going to get LSU Jalen Milroe? Are you going to get crash out Milroe that we saw against Oklahoma and then we saw today? If we get crash out Milroe, then the same exact thing happens we saw today, but a lot worse, because those teams that we're facing in the playoff are a lot more talented.
Yeah, there's no getting around. This game was just, it was piss poor across the board. In case you guys don't know, Davis Warren from Michigan. Let me give you guys some perspective to this. He threw the ball 12 times, 9 of 12 for 73 yards, 6.1 average, right? 1 TD, no interceptions, right? So they must have ran the ball well. Average 2.3 yards per carry, no touchdowns on the ground.
At what point do you take a page out of Nick Saban's playbook and pull Milroe in favor of Ty Simpson? Look, it could have gone one of two ways if Ty Simpson comes in. He could crash out and fail miserably. But there's a positive if that happens. He gets valuable game reps. He gets film. He gets to figure out what went wrong and how he can correct it and build off of that going into spring, ultimately into fall camp, into the fall if he wins the spot. The other side of it is he proves a lot of us right who felt that he could get it done. And he has a phenomenal game. And he he leads Alabama to beat Michigan. Either way, it's a win-win, the way I see it. But instead, Kalen DeBoer kept him in there. Continue to watch his team flounder, and the team around Milroe get upset, and at points maybe even checked out because they were tired of it. It really felt like, watching their body language, they were sick of it, and rightly so. But I just question the decision making there. You're in a bowl game. Essentially, you have nothing to lose. You're not playing for a title. You're not playing to move on. You're just there to go on the Disney experience or whatever it is that's going on in Tampa, collect some cool things, get paid a good bit of money, and you go back to Tuscaloosa. But that's ultimately, it's all at stake.
Any last words in the game, though?
Honestly, if I continue to talk about it, it's only going to make me even sicker. Again, I'm glad that the season is over. Glad we won the Iron Bowl consolation prize. No question.
That's true.
I'm looking forward to next year. I'm seeing how we can build off of that.
Yep.
My ship has not sailed with Kalen DeBoer, because I think next season is when we'll be able to see him operate. Yep. He's going to have Milroe gone. He's going to have a lot of the things removed that hindered what he wanted to have accomplished. So I'm not jumping ship there. As far as Nick Sheridan, I'll give him I give Nick Sheridan a probationary period. There's no more excuses. I think you get a little bit of a pass right now to a degree, but next year we need to see something. Defense is fine, I think. I think the defense got better throughout the year. Yeah, we had a few hiccups, but the thing is, they were continually corrected. And it's funny, Johnathan. Whereas the offense is regressing, the defense was getting better. They were elevating missing players.
Yep.
Yeah, key players. Missing Q Robinson, missing Deontay Lawson. Today they had those two. Jahad Campbell went out. Malachi Moore was out. Yep. They still played a hell of a game. Shout out to Day Jones. Shout out to Bray Hubbard. Shout out to King Mack.
Quincy.
Shout out to Zay Mincy. We got a lot to be excited about.
Mhm.
And if Deontay decides to come back next year, then we're going to have quite a defensive squad. If Tim Keenan III comes back, which I feel he will, we're going to be ahead of a lot of folks. And one more person may be returning too. We'll announce that a little bit later. But I like the offense's I like the defense's trajectory.
Any last words before we get off here?
No. First of all, I thank all the fans for being with us the entire season. The Alabama season itself did not play out the way we had envisioned at all, but it was still fun. It was incredible having the opportunity to come to you every single week, providing content that you appreciated. So we thank you, the fans. That's why we make videos like this.
All right, guys. Other than that, time for the offseason, time for the Keelan Russell era, right? So as he'll be coming in with a lot of hype. But other than that, everybody have a good day. And as always, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.